Hey, best of U.S. agents, and particularly you, Frida Sanders, who wrote me a comment and basically said she'd like to know more about how I use email and how I use YouTube. Today, I'm going to focus on how I use YouTube to build my business and what it's done for me and why I think it's something that you ought to be involved in. So let's talk about it. Okay, Frida, I've used YouTube since roughly March. No, really April. I went to a conference in San Diego in March, the social media marketing conference, and I purposely focused on speakers about YouTube, and I met some very dynamic speakers and talked with them personally, shared my book with them. Um, Need to get that in the camera. And have had some good response with them and some interchange with them. So um, it's become a big part of my business. I had had a YouTube channel before that I just kind of parked videos on, um, but this then grew into something more. In the last 28 days, I've had roughly 4,400 views of my videos by 2,500 different people. Now, in my world, I think about standing in front of 2,500 people. That's a lot of people. So I've reached, in my mind, a lot of people. Now, granted, there are people who have 30,000 subscribers. I've got about 700. I'd like to see that go up. So I'm going to ask, if you're watching this, click the subscribe button right now. Click the like button right now. That helps me get my algorithm and helps me get my message out better. So do that. Those 2,000 or 4,000 views amounted to 323 hours of viewing of me on YouTube over the last 28 days. That's pretty outstanding for a shorter period of time that I've done it. 29% of my traffic, and this is if you want to get involved in YouTube, 29% of my traffic right now comes from external sources. I get a lot of traffic, and thank you to the KW agents through KW Command. I get a lot of traffic through my postings on Facebook and LinkedIn. And so that's kind of where my traffic's coming from. And the way the 70% that of YouTube is that somebody types something in that they're interested in, and they see my videos. Now, what I think can be exciting for you is my number one keyword is Birmingham. That's right. My number one keyword is Birmingham. So this is people who are possibly looking for a home in Birmingham. I started a part of my channel called Moving to Birmingham. It was a title that I put on the videos that I shot when I did in-home video shoots, moving to Birmingham. And then I did for a series, and I need to get back to it, on weekends, my wife and I going someplace, and I'd take my camera and I'd do a little video on this is part of Birmingham, such as I did it on Slosh Furnace, some of our old pig iron furnaces. I did it on the Vulcan. That's kind of the Vulcan statue that looks over the city. And so I did those things, and I put them under the heading of moving to Birmingham. So my number one keyword is Birmingham. Some of my number one, probably in my top 10 videos of viewings are the walkthrough home shots that I do. The 8-minute videos where I walk through a home and show it. Now, And again, there's one that I did 3 years ago, and it's every week. It's in my top 5 videos. It's a one point was about a $1.5 million home that we sold that had 13,000 square feet with a pool on a lake. It's Lake Heather is the title of it. So that's, and what's the benefit of that? Why did I do that? I basically decided I wanted to get out in front of Zillow. And that, by that I mean that I recognized that 90% of the people who are making a decision to move to Birmingham go to Zillow to find their home, or at least to, and in many cases to find an agent, or at least that's how it works out. So what I thought was, if I was moving to Paducah, Kentucky, the first thing I would do would be Google it. The second thing I would probably do would be to YouTube it. And so I wanted to create an awareness amongst those people that maybe they got to know me before they got to know Zillow and the agents, the prime agents that Zillow recommended. And it's worked for me. I don't do a lot with buyers. I prefer to be a listing agent and a salesman. I don't like driving around the city hour after hour showing people homes. So that's how I use YouTube. Now, some tips that I would give you is, if you're first getting into it, start videoing the homes in your community that maybe you get listed, or ask somebody who has an attractive home in the market that you want to work in if you can make a video of their listing. I can't imagine why they would say no. And then post it, create a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is titled Best of U.S. Homes Birmingham. Title your YouTube channel with something other than your name, and make sure it includes your city, and start building a following. Now, what do you do once you get the video on YouTube? You get a website. I use Real Geeks, and there's both a description of the video equipment I use, as well as Real Geeks, how you can get in touch with them below here. And then I will plant my video inside of blog on my website. I'll kind of do the description, which I got to do for YouTube anyway, and then I'll not embed, but put a link, put a picture up, and then link that picture to my YouTube channel. So that achieves two things. One, it gets them to my website, where I can, through Facebook pixels, pick up their pixels or their cookies, so that I can then remarket to them. So then they go to the YouTube channel and watch the video. Quite often then I will, in the description of the video, now we're talking again about a video that I shot on a house that I have listed, I'll say, for more information, and I'll put a link to the page where I have a featured listing in my website where they can go and get the price information and things of that nature. So it's worked well for me. It takes a little practice. It takes the right equipment. One of the best things I came up is what I'm using right now is a webcam. It sits on a little desk tripod, and I just look over it, so it makes it look like I'm looking at you, as opposed to having it mounted on the top of the screen, my computer screen. And I don't usually use that selfie stick. I don't like those. I use a tripod, and then I use Adobe Rush to edit it, and I've gotten to where I can knock that thing out in maybe an hour. The long haul of it is uploading it into YouTube. So what I do is quite often the last thing I do in a day is edit my video and then allow it to it'll take an hour to upload into YouTube. On YouTube, then you're going to need to learn how to do SEO, search engine optimization, and do a good a thumbnail, and then also write a good headline, and you'll start getting viewing. And follow my lead and create a category and include in all of your titles moving to your city, moving to Paducah, Kentucky, and then just dominate those words. Go every week and shoot some silly video and start dominating that. And you're going to find that that's going to push a lot of people in your direction. Okay, so Ferda, I hope I've answered your questions and filled in more. And I'd encourage you, the rest of you, if you got some questions, or I appreciate it. I need some guidance as to what you want to know, and if I don't know how to do it, I'll make something up. No, I won't do that. So okay, that's YouTube. It's free. It just takes a little work, and then you'll start enjoying it. And then somebody will call you and say, "Hey, I watched your," and you just to think that 2,500 people I've reached over the last 28 days, and they've watched 323 hours of me. Okay. Join Best of U.S. Agents, and again, Frida, thank you for joining. I saw you joined on the 20th of September. Hope I can be of some help to you, and share this with your friends, and let's build a community.